Hi, this is Travis T. Wolfe, author, international transformational speaker, entrepreneur, owner of WolfeMpowerment Group, and you're listening to Chasing Dreams with Amy J.
Welcome to Chasing Dreams podcast with Amy J. Amy believes that realizing a life without regrets is achieved by taking chances, chasing your dreams, making moves, and overcoming your doubts. The Chasing Dreams podcast will help you overcome life's obstacles, believe in your potential, and inspire you to face your fears. And now here's the woman who is passionately pursuing her dreams, Amy J.
Hey, Dream Chasers, this is Amy J, and you are listening to episode 104 of Chasing Dreams. It's crazy, isn't it? And it's even better because I have a good friend on the phone with us today, Travis Wolfe. He was born into poverty to two drug-addicted parents. At the age of 8, his family placed him in the foster care system where he was physically and sexually abused. A runaway at age 15 and homeless by the age of 16, his life was on a downward spiral and he was destined for failure. But today he is an author, transformational speaker, entrepreneur, and sergeant in the police department. His story is a testament that when you become determined not to lose it, it becomes impossible not to win. And we actually met recently at DreamCon where he was a speaker. And guys, he's phenomenal. I'm so happy he was able to come onto the show. Travis, how are you today?
Amy, I am doing absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so grateful.
You know, recently, one of the things as you grow as a podcaster, as a speaker, you kind of want to get feedback from people, right? I did a survey recently and found a lot of people who have gone through traumatic experiences feel that they can't move forward. They can't pursue their dream. And when I heard your story at DreamCon, I was like, oh no, he has to come on the show. Because you're a testament to the fact that that's not the case.
Absolutely.
And so let's not to talk too much about your background, but it has to be mentioned. You had a very, is it safe to say, difficult childhood?
Yes, I like to call it challenging.
Okay. That's, I think, accurate as well.
It was challenging at times. Absolutely. You know, born in a poverty, as you stated, you know, two drug-addicted parents. Both my mother and my father were addicted to crack cocaine, and my father was also a very abusive alcoholic when I was 8 years old because of my parents' absenteeism and addictions. My own mother's mother, my grandmother, and my mother's sister, one of my aunts, placed me and my sisters in the foster care system. And, you know, in the system, I was abused physically and mentally. And by the time I was 18, by the time I was 11, I was being molested and raped by a 16-year-old male foster child.
Wow.
When I was 12, my father had gotten himself clean and sober and got me out of a group home that I was in, you know, but I hated my father. I hated, you know, today I love him. But at the time, I hated my father because my father forced me to learn how to be a man for my mother because he wasn't there. You know, my father would promise me on holidays and Christmas and, you know, birthdays that he would come to see us. And, you know, I would sit outside away from my father to walk down the walkway and he would show up. You know, I hated my father because my father made me learn how to fight in the middle of a fight because he wasn't there to teach me how to use my hands. And that was important. I don't condone violence or anything like that. But at that time, because of the climate, the racial climate, and us being the only children that looked like us that were non-white in our school, my sister and I used to get chased home and jumped by groups of racist children, you know, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old.
Oh, jeez.
And spit on and called the N-word and things like that. So, you know, that was a rough time for us. But, you know, when my father had got me out of the group home at 12, you know, I refused to be obedient. And I was a habitual rule breaker, you know, for a long period of my life. And my father ended up, you know, becoming abusive to me. He'll call it discipline, you know, by today's standards, it'd be abuse. And at least I thought it was abuse back then. So I ran away at 15. 16, I was homeless. By the age of 19, I was arrested. And, you know, things kind of turned around from there. But that's a little bit of my story.
Well, I mean, it's an amazing story. Truth be told, it's from one point to the other that you've gone. Could you, at such a young age, going through what you did, you know, in your teens and as an 11-year-old, did you have dreams?
I talked about it a little bit at the Dreamers.
DreamCon?
DreamCon. Yeah, because I remember Joe had asked me the same question on the Dreamers podcast. He had asked me, did I dream? And I told Joe at the time, I said, Joe, I didn't dream. You know, I didn't dream because, pardon me, being an individual who came from where I came from, I didn't believe that I could be anything other than what I knew. And at the time, all I knew was poverty. All I knew was, you know, homelessness, hopelessness. You know, my mother and I, between ages of 1 and 4, when she had given me away after birth, but got me back when I was about 1, a little bit over 1. And we had spent some time homeless and bouncing around from place to place. My mother always called it moving and shaking. And coming up like that, not experiencing anything different, I didn't feel like I had, at least back then, I don't remember having the capacity to dream. I believe that you dream when you can see other possibilities, when there's a possibility that you can be something greater, you know, but never having experienced or seen anything greater than what I knew, I don't know what I would have dreamed about. I always thought I wanted to become a police officer, but I don't remember ever dreaming about these things.
Yeah, I can imagine that it's hard. You don't see anything else but what you were saying. Why would you? When would you say that you started to believe that you could, though? Do you remember?
One day I had met a mentor, and it's kind of sad, actually, I think, that I was 17 years old when I met this mentor. And he told me that he believed that I was greater than I believed that I was. And for him to tell me something like that at that age, and having not heard anybody ever tell me that, for this man to tell me that he loved me, and have never up to this point, never heard my father actually tell me that he loved me, or never can remember a time my father told me he loved me. You know, it was, I don't even know how to explain it. To explicate it would not even do it justice, I think. So I'll just say that it was a phenomenal experience, I guess. And to have this man take me to his home and show me his family, to sit down at the dinner table and eat with Pastor Jeff Arthur and his family, to see a nice car in a driveway, a beautiful home, children, a wife. You know, I started to dream about having those things. And then when I got an opportunity to make a decision at that fork in the road, whether I wanted to go left or go right, and whether I wanted to be going down the path that people expected me to go down, which they always told me I'd be dead or in jail like my father, or I had the opportunity to go the other way and try to attain what Pastor Jeff had shown me and follow my dreams that I began to have at that time, I was able to choose the positive route. And that was that around the age of 17 was the time that I can actually remember that I started to dream. And what I dreamed about was having this family. What I dreamed about was becoming a police officer, going to college, the first male in my family, on my mother or father's side, to go to college. So that's when I began to dream at 17, when I can remember.
At 17, and you started pursuing it. I mean, you became a sergeant in the police force in Philadelphia. So one could say that your dream or your belief that you wanted to be in the police force kind of happened or came full circle. Was that something that stayed with you, the desire to be a police officer? Was there any particular reason why the police force appealed to you?
Yes, when I was 7 years old, my mother and I and my sisters had gotten evicted from the apartment we were living in mainly because of me. I was getting involved in a lot of mischievous things at that time. And we ended up in a motel when we got evicted from the apartment. And, you know, I did tell you about the experiences with the racism and things like that. And there was a police officer that didn't look like us. And he knew that my mother was on drugs, and he would come check on us every day that he was working. And this man would bring us food or candy or something from the neighborhood food establishments. He would come in our home when our mother wasn't there and look in our refrigerator, see we didn't have food. He would go grocery shopping and get us milk and bread, peanut butter and stuff like that, so we could have food in the home. And he showed us a level of love and compassion that I had never experienced from someone who didn't look like us. Really, nobody other than my mother. So to be in that experience to experience that in that moment, it stuck with me. And I always wanted to become a police officer since I was 7 years old and give back someone that same love and compassion. And when I was trying to pursue that dream, I had gotten arrested and it got derailed when I was 19. And, it was difficult for me to become a police officer at that point. I was told no 14 different times by 6 different departments that I could not become a police officer.
Well, that's a lot of times. I mean, I don't know. Some people typically stop after the third one. 14
different times by 6 different departments. And I refused to let no mean no. I would walk in and no, they would tell me no, and I would fail some portion of the process, and they would tell me no, and I wouldn't let no mean no. No would just mean not today. My record wouldn't allow me to become a police officer. I had to get that expunged. So I was told no a couple of times during that process. Mm-hmm. But one of the same departments that told me no back in 2003 or 2004, rather, 3 years later, they hired me. And then just 3 years ago, they promoted me to sergeant. So just that being determined not to lose and never accepting no and just continuing and pushing through the process. If I didn't continue on and try, even after all those times, I may not ever be in the position that I am today, where I can say I'm a sergeant in the 4th largest department in the country.
I got to talk about this a little bit. I mean, 14 times, people say no, 6 different departments. And were you ever discouraged amongst that? I mean, sure, you said not no, it means not today. But truly, in those times that you kind of kept going, did you ever think, well, maybe I'm seeing this wrong, and it's not just no, it means today, this isn't going to happen? Did you ever have doubt like that?
I got to tell you, Amy, I'm human, and I would love to say no. I absolutely never had any doubt, but I'm a human being. And sometimes as humans, we do get discouraged, and we have to remind ourselves sometimes of our desire and of our why. But to be told no so many times, and that's not even the worst part about it. I've been number 1 on lists for different departments on 3 different occasions. I've been number 1 on their list. And then I get to a certain stage in the testing process, whether it be the polygraph or whether it be the background investigation. And then at that point, I'd be denied. So to be number 1 on their list, what it means to be number 1 is to outdo hundreds of other, maybe not hundreds. I know for that department, it was a little over 100. A couple of times it was over 100. And one other time it was only about 8. But to be number 1 out of 8 or number 1 out of over 100 applicants and then be told no after getting way into the process,
that's discouraging.
That was discouraging a couple of times. Absolutely. But then I remember my why, and I remember that I was doing this for my family. And I remember that, all the things that I had gone through in my life had prepared me for disappointment. I've always been disappointed my whole life. I've never, but at least when I was younger, I had never been, truly surprised when I was told no or when something didn't work out, because I expected it, but I always kept trying. So,
I mean, so that's the thing, right? And I think that's something we often forget is, it's okay that you doubt yourself. It's okay that, you are discouraged, because you're right. It's human. Right. But we put so much pressure on ourselves, like, oh, I had doubt, therefore I don't deserve it. But the fact that you came back to your why and that you knew to come back to your why, that's not a normal thing for people.
It's not a normal thing, Amy, honestly. But, Dr. Dwayne Dyer said before, if you knew who walked beside you at all times on this path that you have chosen, you could never experience fear or doubt again. So, and I'm not challenging anybody's existential or either their religious beliefs, but I know who walks beside me. And I know that in the end, God's purpose for me is a lot bigger than what I think it is. And it's a lot bigger than my own desires and my own idea of what I want to do with my life. And I had believed that this was at the time, my destiny. I had believed that this was part of my growth process. and that this was something I was going to do. And I wanted it so bad. I desired it so bad. I read from in the book, The Alchemist, when a person truly desires a thing, all of the universe conspires to help that person achieve their dream. So I believe that I would achieve this. And honestly, although I was told no so many times, the universe was conspiring all along. And although I'm human and sometimes I got discouraged, I never really succumbed to that doubt because I knew that in the end, I would be victorious. So I just continued to push on and continue to push on, Amy. And here I am today. And, this job is one of the best jobs. I used to say it's the best job in the world, but now, with my company, with empowering individuals, I'm doing something totally different now. And, it's the second best job in the world because right now what I do is I empower youth and millennials who've been in foster care, like myself, to overcome their victimizations and their hardships so they can experience success and total life fulfillment. So doing that now is definitely the number one job in the world, but policing is the second best job in the world. And I just knew in the end who walked beside me. I knew I would be victorious. So
the thing is not just, I'm so happy because, who you are today because of that experience, because you didn't take no for an answer. But, that's something I think we all face. While you're human and you overcame it, I'm sure you had other people saying, hey, why don't you try something else? Why don't you go another direction? Did you have that outer force, a third party kind of whispering in your ear also? Did you have to fight that off as well?
Amy, when I tell people today that I'm a police officer, they're blown away. They can't believe it. And then when they find out I'm a sergeant, they're like, no, not you. There's no way you. There's no way you. I saw a couple of my friends from when I was younger on South Street one day during the 4th of July fireworks on South Street in Philadelphia. And after the fireworks that they had, everybody comes down South Street and hangs out, and people I grew up with saw me out there. It was 3 of them. And they were like, yo, Trav, what? They were like, yo, you a cop? And then they got up close and they're like, yo, you a sergeant? Like they couldn't believe it. So yes, of course, people told me no along the way. People told me it was crazy for me to continue to try. Nobody believed I could ever do it coming from where I came from and having the arrest record that I did. And I was nutty. I was doing some crazy stuff. So, I don't blame them for not thinking that I could, but even some of your family, sometimes they mean well, but they consider it the best for you. And they'll tell you things that they might tell you can't be or you can't do,
right.
But I was told no, and I can't, and I won't be all my life. And I was one of the things that did keep me pushing on was this determination to just not prove everybody wrong, but not allow people to tell me what I couldn't. Like I was rebellious. I said I was a habitual rule breaker. I was very rebellious, and I wouldn't let somebody tell me I cannot achieve a thing. So that's why that's one of the things that motivated me to continue to push on, even though they told me no often, and they told me, you should probably do something else. Stay in college. Like I left college. I got a call on Friday that I had to report to the academy on Monday. And me being silly and naive and young, I didn't know how to cancel classes and, or put them on hold. Or I hit cancel on all my classes and lost all that money. And I was like, I'm going Monday. I was so excited. I didn't go to the office. I just, to talk to the people, the financial people or whatever, financial aid. I just said, I'm done, cancel, and went to get the job. And then some people were like, if you go to get this job, you're not going to finish college. And I'm like, thank you. That's exactly what I needed to hear. Because you told me I won't do it. So when I got done with the academy, I went right back to school. And within a year, I finished up my degree and graduated. I only have 4 classes left. And I canceled it all, got the job, fulfilled my dream, and then came back right away and graduated. So
wait. You finished the academy, went back to college, and finished your degree. And because somebody said you couldn't do it?
I wanted it. Before they told me I couldn't do it, okay. But them telling me I couldn't do it was exactly the fuel that I needed for the fire that was already burning to really make sure that I pushed through.
Right.
I was working a last out shift, which is 12 a.m. to 8 a.m. I would get off of work at 8 a.m. I would go to court. I would leave court and go to class, leave class and go back to court or work overtime or whatever. I was draining myself, but I was determined to finish, and I did it. I don't remember exactly who it was, but I'm so grateful. I wish I knew exactly who said it so I can thank them for helping me to push through. all those moments when I was like, I'm too tired to go to class, or, I'm too tired to finish. Maybe I'll stretch it out one more semester. I'm so grateful for that person because they gave me exactly what I needed.
And what did you graduate with a degree in?
Criminal justice. And it's terrible because I wanted to really, it's not terrible. It's phenomenal, actually. I have a degree. A lot of people don't have a degree, so I'm so grateful for that. But I have 4 different majors because I knew I wanted to be a police officer.
Sure.
Even though I was told no, and I thought that I wasn't ever going to become it because of my background. Sometimes I tried 3 different other majors to try to make myself more marketable and more valuable when I got out of school. But my love and my passion was policing and law. So I just decided to, at the end of the day, after wasting countless amounts of money and extending my stay at Temple for numerous amounts of years. I mean, I graduated in 7. I didn't get a 4-year degree or a 5 or 6. I got a 7-year degree, but it took me a long time to graduate. I graduated in 2009, but I wasted a bunch of money just trying other things before I just gave in to what I knew my passion was. And then I started to actually excel because I loved what I was doing before I was failing.
Nobody ever actually asks how long did it take you to graduate. I think everyone's so hung up on 4 years and 3 years and all that, but really, you got the degree, right?
I got the degree.
You got some education in there, and that's what you wanted. That's the more important part is you got the degree, you got the job, and it's amazing how you were juggling all of that. And then you were focused on police work full time. When did you begin giving back the way you do as a public speaker, as a transformational guide? I mean, when did that start?
Well, I was sitting at home one day and I was nursing a back procedure. I had my second back procedure. It was minimally invasive, but nevertheless, it was a back procedure. And I know that every 1.5 to 2 years, I'm going to have to get another one. And as I'm sitting at home, I'm looking at my life and, I'm in a state of, I don't like to call it depression because I don't subscribe to depression, but I believe that I was in some kind of funk. And when I'm sitting at home, I'm playing video games, 15 hours, 12 hours, 10 hours a day. My wife is upset. My kids are not happy. They're like, you're here, but you're never really here. You're playing the game. And I'm like screaming at them, like, be quiet. I'm trying to play the game. And they're like
focused
yelling.
On that.
They're trying to be my children and my wife. And I'm like scolding them. And I was in this funk. And I was looking at my life like, I know there's more to this than more to me than this. I know that, I've got almost 10 years on the job. And with these back procedures, I don't know how much longer I can last. One bad accident or one bad fight with somebody who doesn't want to go to jail, and I might be out of this job, out of a career forever. And I don't want that to happen. So if it does, though, what would I do? And I ended up coming across, like the universe works in amazing ways. I don't usually scroll through Steve Harvey videos. Somehow I ended up scrolling through Facebook and saw a Steve Harvey video, and I actually played it. And there was a woman on there by the name of Lisa Nichols who was telling her story.
Oh, I love her story.
I love her. I love her story. Everybody does. She's a phenomenal storyteller. And a phenomenal speaker. And I'm watching her captivate the audience. I'm watching the crowd. They're crying. They're captivated by her story. And I'm like, man, her story is great. But when people hear because I never told anybody about my trauma. I told people about some of the circumstances that I had and some of the things that I overcame. I didn't realize that I had actually been a speaker for a very long period of time in my life. I want to say all my life, but that can't be true. But, at least as an adult and a young man, I was always inspirational to people. And they always come back and tell me how I inspired them somehow, not always, but often how I inspired them somehow in their lives. So watching her do that, I'm like, man, my story is great. If I just tell my story, write a book about it and speak about it, I can really impact and empower and inspire the world, millions of people. And that's what I'm going to do. So I decided to start on this journey, and here I am today.
It's phenomenal because you're just as captivating, and you capture your audience's attention as Lisa Nichols, as any other public speaker that I've seen. I mean, because you caught all of us at DreamCon. It was a phenomenal speech, guys. He closed out DreamCon, and he left it all on the floor, so to speak. And I know I said it there, but I'm gonna say it publicly. Kudos to you because it was one of the best there.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I'm really humbled by that. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, you also, took your experiences. You're working on this, and you also wrote a book. And guys, this is a great book. It's called Go Be Great, Overcome and Win. And you'll have all the links to Travis's website and stuff on the show notes page. So definitely check it out. Actually, Travis, can you share where they can buy the book?
Absolutely. You can go to TravisTWolfe.com, T as in Travis, Travis T. Wolfe. The same link is WolfeMpowerment.com, WolfeMpowerment.com. And you can buy the book there, or you can do WolfeMpowerment.com / Go Be Great. WolfeMpowerment.com / Go Be Great.
Guys, this is a great book. And a lot of what we've talked about is actually in the book. And this, you can just tell, Travis, that this is a labor of love.
Yes.
I mean, this is your story.
Yes, it is.
Right?
Yes, it is. When I was writing this book, the entire time I'm thinking to myself and saying to myself, reminding myself, this book is going to change the world. This book is going to change individuals' lives. So I had to leave it all on the floor. I had to be totally transparent. I felt the only way to really change a person's life is to be completely transparent. Nothing faux, nothing hidden, just open and honest. And this book is changing lives worldwide. It's not just, it's internationally changing lives. So I'm just so grateful. And I appreciate you shouting the book out and talking about it. And I appreciate you reading it. But this book is absolutely phenomenal, and it is changing many, many lives.
Well, I had to share it because it's a very powerful book. And guys, I know a lot of people who because you're very raw and honest in this book, to be honest. You're very raw and honest in this book. And I think people need to read that. People need to hear that. And, in talking to some people who have gone through difficult times, they have doubts amongst themselves. And I think, especially for those folks, check out this book because it is a story of a man who went through a difficult childhood and is living his dream today. And, you make no apologies for it. You just address it.
You have to. A lot of us, we use our fears, we use our victimizations as an excuse for us not to achieve a certain thing or for us not to pursue a certain thing. Mm-hmm. And that takes away from the fact that we are absolutely I don't even know how else to put it, but we're absolutely able to achieve the life that we desire. Literally, we speak our lives into existence, what we want. If we believe, if we ask, believe, and are willing to do the work to get what we ask for, we will receive it. And to be quite frank, this book is not just a story of my life. This book is actually a guide to help you to get to where you want to be in life. I show you how to implement the tools that I've used, the systems and the processes that I've used to help me to get to where I am in my life, where you can take them and immediately apply them in your life. And they're universal. I talk about a little bit about universal law in there. And these things can be applied to your life. And if you work it, it'll actually help you to get to the next level. There's exercises in there and things like that. And I really had to give everyone, and I show everyone, this idea that if a guy like me with circumstances like mine, right, can overcome and win, then you absolutely can overcome and win and do greater things than me. And, in the Bible, I don't mean to get I don't want to get religious, but in the Bible, Jesus says, he that believeth in me, in the works that I do, greater things than these, shall he do also, and greater things than these shall he do. So, to believe that Jesus said that we would do greater things than he, I don't want to make Jesus a liar, so I believe that I can do greater things than Jesus. And I believe that everyone else can too. So that is kind of like my motivation behind it, making sure that people know that they can achieve and just showing them, giving them my full story so they can see where I came from the dirt.
And
go ahead.
You absolutely do. And if I could, I just want to read a small excerpt from chapter 14, which is Know How to Win.
Yes.
And you say, imprinting success on your unconscious mind means you've told yourself over and over that you're going to be successful, whatever that looks like to you. Your unconscious mind believes it and accepts it as fact. You truly see it in your mind's eye and you believe it and act as if you already have it. However, your unconscious mind doesn't have the power to manifest the things you want in life. It is your actions that are responsible for manifesting the things you desire. I mean, that's deep stuff right there. And just a portion of it. So, like, it's great, guys. There are actions. There are things in here for you to kind of work on and for yourself, and so that you can kind of look at everything. But that's the kind of deep statement that is in this book, by the way. But I read that in particular because it's a very, very powerful thing that you say. It is your actions that are responsible for manifesting the things you desire. When did that come to you?
I honestly don't remember exactly when, but as I started to get on this personal development journey, as I started to research universal law and started to apply the things in my life that helped me to become successful, you start to learn more and more about how the law of attraction works and how important action is in our lives. Like you read, I wrote that it is your actions that are responsible for manifesting the things that you desire. Because a lot of us, there's a statement, that we reiterate all the time: ask and it shall be given to you. But that's not the end all be all. You can't just ask and sit down on your couch and think that you're going to become successful because you asked for it. Sure. You actually have to take action in your life. You have to take these action steps. And these action steps, what happens when you take it, so there's energy all around us, right? There's potential energy all around us. And you can wish and hope for and ask and desire all you want. But potential energy is not going to actually create, any momentum for you until you act upon it. Potential energy is only potential energy until it's acted upon by another source of energy. So when you take action, that's that energy that acts upon that potential energy, and you start the momentum to go. The momentum starts to build and build and build. And then the more action you take, the more momentum builds. Like if you can imagine rolling a snowball down a large mountain, right? And as the snowball is rolling down the mountain, it's collecting more and more snow. As it's moving and it's taking action, it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It's moving faster and faster and faster, where you might, when it's small, there might be an obstacle in the way, maybe a tree, right? The snowball hits that tree, and if it doesn't keep moving, it'll be dead in its tracks. And sometimes with our life, with our success, we start to move and then we hit a obstacle and then we give up, we quit. We think we can't overcome that obstacle, but when that snowball hits that tree, it might be a small piece of snow that pops off the side of the snowball and continues to roll down the hill, right? And that's what we should do with our lives and our success and on our journey for success. Just continue to roll down that hill. And then as you continue to roll down that hill, before you know it, your snowball will be so big. If there's a Mack truck in front of that giant snowball, it will plow through that Mack truck. It will plow through any obstacle, and that thing will either become part of the snowball or get out of its way. And that's where the momentum gets built up once we take action, and then more action. You start to get a small victory, and you see a win, and then you're like, okay, I can do this. And you just keep going and keep going. And before you know it, you go from saying you want to become a speaker, or saying you're a speaker before you're actually a speaker, to becoming an international speaker. I'm flying to St. Lucia next month to speak in St. Lucia.
Wow.
And
nice.
It seems like just yesterday I said, I am going to be one of the best speakers in the world, and then I started telling myself I am the best speaker in the world. And I imprinted that on my subconscious mind. So once you print that on your subconscious mind, it goes to work for you, because your subconscious mind's responsibility is to make sure that your beliefs are congruent with your reality, right? It has to make your beliefs your reality, or you'll go, for lack of a better term, insane. So unconsciously, I started doing things that would help me to get to where I said I am. We have to speak those things that are not as if they are. So I say I'm the best speaker in the world on a daily basis of myself, and using incantations and just affirmations, saying it over and over again, so that I believe it so much so that I start unconsciously taking actions to become the best speaker in the world. And now, only a year and 2 months into this whole speaking game, I'm speaking internationally. I'm training other speakers how to speak within other groups. It's been a phenomenal ride. I got to tell you, I'm just so grateful, man. And this book, I try to put all these things in this book so other people can feel how I feel, man, and experience what I'm experiencing. It's just so great.
And one of the things you actually talk about in the book is the fact that you felt that up until recently, you weren't going all in, right? Mm-hmm. You weren't giving it your very all until probably the last year or so, something like that. Do you find that the people you're talking to, that's a common theme?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because we're human, right? Yeah. And we get discouraged along the way. There were some obstacles along the way when I first started, and there's some more obstacles that are coming up in my life now and trying to prevent me from getting where I want to go. But like I said earlier, if you knew who walked beside you at all times. So I'm not concerned about these obstacles. In the end, I know I'm going to get over it. In life, if you have an end goal, right? It's always important to start whenever you're trying to pursue a mission in your life, start with the outcome. So you know what you want to do. If you know what the outcome is, if you know that you're going to win in the end, why get upset and frown or be unhappy along the way? Nothing that gets in my way troubles me anymore. I'm human. So for a moment, it might bother me. And then I remember the end goal. I remember who walks beside me and I smile again. This is just another great learning experience for me to make me stronger in the end. So of course we do. Of course we get frustrated or we get, sad or whatever, and we stop or we don't give it our all. Mm-hmm. But we have to remember that why and remember who walks beside us and remember that you have an end goal. So everything you do must be working toward that end goal. And stopping is not one of those things that's going to help you get there. If you stop, the momentum stops. And I stopped before, I had a friend that told me that, in order to he's like, how can you be speaking to people about becoming successful and you're not even rich? Like, you're not a millionaire yet. So how can you tell other people about being successful?
Wow.
And I was like, man, if he believes that, then there's probably a million other people in the world who believe that.
Yeah.
So for a little while, I kind of stopped, but I'm like, man, who am I to tell I'm a poor kid from West Philly. Mm-hmm. I'm a foster kid who was molested and raped. Like, who am I to tell somebody about being successful? I'm not a millionaire yet. I believe that, for a little while, but then and he's one of my best friends. So he meant well, but like I said, that's not always the right way to go. You have to believe that I've been changing people's lives, men and women, grown 45, 67-year-old men and women crying to me, thanking me for the things that I'm doing, thanking me for the book that I wrote, telling me how much it's impacted their lives. Like, I was raped when I was a kid and I'm 44 and I haven't overcome it. You're my hero. Thank you for sharing that. To be able to inspire that one individual, just really helps to get that momentum, going in me. It helps to really inspire and empower me to continue to move on. Then to have a 67-year-old woman crying to me, telling me about her story and just asking me to please never quit. Please don't quit. Don't stop doing the videos. Like, if you just continue to work, you'll be changing people's lives. And you quitting is selfish because your story, the things that God has allowed you to experience, the things that have happened in your life that have not happened to you, but happened for you, happen so you can become the person that you are today so that you can help and inspire somebody else. So for you to sit on that and not share your story and not continue to push on, you're being selfish, and somebody can be dying, losing their life or taking their own life because they didn't get a chance to sit in front of you and hear you speak and hear you captivate them and change their world. So yes, to answer your question, I went off on a little bit of a tangent. Yes, I believe that happens to a lot of people.
But at the same time, you're not wrong. I mean, I think oftentimes people think, who are we? Who am I to pursue my dream? It's not going to happen. It's only meant for those who show up on TV. Mm-hmm. And the truth is, people with your kind of story are the ones who should be pursuing their dreams and sharing it to inspire or remind others who are going through the same thing or who have experienced the same traumas that they too can do it. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing.
You have to believe that the person that's on TV, right? The person like Lisa Nichols. When I'm watching Lisa Nichols, when you hear her story, Lisa Nichols was where I was. She wasn't always famous. Lisa Nichols was where I was, where she was down and destitute and downtrodden, right? The people you see on TV worked their way to get to that position because they didn't quit. They continued to push on. If you stop, you'll never be on that television. You'll never be sitting in Oprah Winfrey's chair or on a couch next to her. You'll never be able to experience that massive success that you desire if you quit. If you quit. But if you push on, however, you will essentially and eventually get the win. But you just have to push on. If them people stopped, if Lisa Nichols stopped, she wouldn't been on Steve Harvey. I never would have saw her, and I might have never started my mission. So it's important that you continue to work and work hard, because you're going to inspire someone else. You're going to empower another individual to pursue their God-given mission and take on their God-given gift and use it to inspire and empower other people.
Sure. And to be clear, your intent may not be that. I mean, your intent doesn't have to be that. It's a side benefit or side effect of you being happy and pursuing your own dreams, guys. And that's the thing I think you don't understand. The power, you don't give yourself enough credit, honestly. And I think each of us does that.
I agree. We don't give ourselves enough credit sometimes.
No.
And I think that comes from being told so many times that we're not, you're not pretty enough, or you don't have the right skin tone, or you don't have the right, the right style of hair. You don't have the right complexion. You don't have the right facial features. And, and we believe those things. So we second guess ourselves like, you know what, this ain't, who am I to do this,
Right.
We don't give ourselves enough credit. We actually have greatness in us, each and every one of us. And you don't have to be a speaker like me. You don't have to be, your mission doesn't have to be, uplifting humanity like mine is. Your mission, whatever it is your mission. And by using your gift to serve other people, you will find that you're inspiring and empowering, whether you're trying to or not, because somebody looks up to you. Somebody looks up to what you're doing. And, I had a meeting with a young man yesterday who asked to be a mentee of mine. And I didn't feel like I did anything. And this man was like, this is the best meeting I've ever had. Like, thank you so much. I'm like, I didn't even do anything. We only spent a couple hours together. But he was so grateful for the conversation and for the words that I was giving him. He wants to be where I'm at today. And he felt like I have poured into him so much through our conversation. He felt like he can do anything, and he was just, so he posted a post on Instagram. He was just so grateful. So, whether you want to or not, whether it's your intention, you're actually inspiring somebody who looks up to you. So give yourself some credit and believe that it could be you, that next person that you see on TV doing whatever it is that you do.
Now, Travis, before I let you go, because you've already dropped a bucket of knowledge for everybody, I need you to share one thing, one action someone can take today to chase their dreams and pursue what they need to do. What is something they could do?
Start.
Ooh.
Start. Like you said, take one. What's that one action?
Mm-hmm.
Take that one action. Start where you are. I didn't know how to become a great speaker, right? But I said, I am going to be a great speaker. And then because I made the decision to become a great speaker, unconsciously, I started getting up at 3:00 in the morning, right? Mm-hmm. From the one decision I made to be a great speaker, I started waking up at 3:00 in the morning, I would do my walk with God, my prayer, meditation. I would go right to the computer and search how to become a great speaker. And then I watched videos on other great speakers, evaluated them, learned how they became great speakers, learned their histories, learned some of the things that they do, how to use their voice and how to use their hand gestures. And before you know it, I'm speaking at DreamCon. Before you know it, I'm flying to, I'm speaking at people's conferences all over the country. I'm flying. I'm so grateful. I'm flying out of the country now, going to St. Lucia. I'm just so grateful. So just start, guys. Like, start where you are. Just believe that you can achieve what you want to achieve, but just start. Don't worry about how you're going to get it. Don't worry about getting the money. Don't worry about how. Just start. And when you start, at some juncture, you'll get to where you want to be. But if you never start, I can pretty much assure you'll never get there.
I'm assure you too. Yeah, I'm going to second that. You won't get there.
You got to start.
You got to. Travis, thank you so much for taking time out of your evening and busy schedule to share your story and so many wise words. Thank you.
I'm so grateful. Thank you so much for having me. And thank you for everybody out there. Chasing Dreams with Amy J is the absolute best. Thank you.
And guys, that was Travis Wolfe. How fantastic is his story? Am I right? Hopefully you guys were inspired and learned something about it, how to chase your dreams from Travis. And because he's right. You just got to start. Okay. You just got to start. You guys can learn more about Travis and the work he's doing and his company and his book all on the show notes page over at chasingdreamshq.com/episode 104. That's episode 104. Till next time, guys, keep chasing.
Thank you so much for listening to Chasing Dreams. Amy would love to connect with you and hear all about your pursuit of chasing your dreams. Connect with her on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram via @ChasingDreamsHQ. Or you can find Amy on Twitter @AmyJ21. That's AIMEEJ21. Be sure to visit headquarters over at chasingdreamshq.com for more inspiration, motivation, and resources to help with your own dream chase. We hope you'll join Amy next week, and until then, keep chasing.